Welcome to October, everyone, or as I like to call it, Couchtober, on this week's episode of the Comfy CouchCast. I'm CatBit, and I'm here today with my fellow lovely host, Random Heary, and a special guest today.
Hi, it's Random Heary. It's Couchtober, as we like to call it here. I've always considered it Couchtober, but I'm legally allowed to say it now.
Consumers just love forcing us to celebrate your favorite holiday the one month of the year.
I just found out people take down their Halloween decorations, and that makes me sad. I don't call it like Halloween decorations, I just call it home decor.
So, I brought up the fact that we have a guest.
Hi there, I'm Nick. I run a channel called Game Apologist. The premise of the show was to cover the good in bad games, but you probably know me as not Cybershell. So a lot of people are just there for the Sonic content. So
you do
like a lot of Sonic there.
A lot of Sonic?
What's that?
A lot of Sonic?
Yeah, yeah, quite extensively.
Yeah, Sonic always seems to get, people coming in for views, because I know channels that don't focus on Sonic, but once they focus on Sonic, that's where all the views come in.
Why do you think Some Call Me Johnny's raking in so much money?
He hasn't really touched Sonic a whole lot in recent years. I mean, he kind of put that base down there and just did a marathon every now and then, so I don't know, I'm really happy for him, because I would love Sonic, but I don't know if I'd be able to do years upon years of content and just do Sonic, you know?
It's just something about that character.
Something alluring about that character that's just keeps us talking. Even when we talk with other YouTubers about, we still end up talking about Sonic for hours. There's something alluring about this franchise and that character that just keeps him around despite so many notorious games. It's really fascinating. Sonic just seems to constantly live on the fringe. He should, by all stretches of the imagination, have fallen to the wayside years ago.
Dude, the weirdest thing about Sonic is, nobody knows what Sonic is. The fans don't know what they want in Sonic. Sega doesn't know what they want in Sonic. Hell, even Sonic doesn't even know what he wants in himself. And he's fucking fictional.
To something more horrific, I want to ask you guys this question.
What?
Since it's the month of October, I wanted to ask what your favorite horror games are in general.
Oh, I would love to talk about this, because I love horror games a lot.
I'm a big wimp. I only have a handful under my belt, and I barely have finished some that have genuinely freaked me out.
One of my best friends growing up, we were huge into horror games, especially this one series called the Fear series. It was done for PC games by Monolith Studios. It's about it's like a team of supernatural forces that has to fight this man named Paxton Fettel, who is the son of woman named Alma, who's been known to have telepathic powers and stuff, and she's locked in a vault, and it's just a bunch of conspiracies going on, and you just find out slowly as you discover things in the game, and it's just really good. It just has action, it has horror elements all to it, and it's just great. And then 2 came out. It had some elements of that, but it kind of lost a bit. And then Fear 3 just was, I didn't even know what kind of game that was. That was terrible. This is probably the worst I've ever explained a video game. I love this series so much, but once I have to explain it, I'm just fuck.
Is Fear 3 the one that had the special edition with the pregnant ghost lady?
Yes, that's Fear 3. In the ending of Fear 2, the character Beckett you played got Alma pregnant. I don't want to talk about that. And the whole game,
a dead girl, man.
I don't know. I don't know how. I just gotta accept it. So her sons, the Point Man, who is playable in the first game, and his brother, Paxton Fettel, who was the main enemy of the first game, have to team up together to stop the birth. And it was just going from point A to point B.
So Fear 3 is all about abortion?
It was advertised like that, but it was mostly about getting rid of the memories of their grandfather, Harlan Wade, who'd done a bunch of experiments on them, because he wanted to create an army of superhumans. But also other games I loved was, this doesn't really count as a horror game, but I love the elements of horror in BioShock, especially with Rapture. I love just the setting in general. If you want to make a really good horror game, the best thing to do is have atmosphere. That's how to really sell it.
Yeah, that jumps up a few notches as far as priorities are concerned in terms of making a game, if you're making a horror game.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, BioShock's one of my favorite games of all time. It's more just for, being a deco, style city underwater. But yeah, the horror elements are just fantastic. Sander Cohen's whole thing there. Or did you ever get into that extra room in the apartments?
Yes, I did.
Where all the weird cast other mannequins that just go all weeping angels on you. It was awesome.
I know, right? Sander Cohen's like one of my favorite characters in that whole game.
Yeah, he's dope. I've been recently listening up on the origin. I wouldn't say the origins of Cohen, but the inspiration of him and Salvador Dali. Oh my God, I almost forgot a famous artist name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the real dude's almost even crazier than the fake one they made for the video game. Man, I love Bioshock. I love Bioshock so much.
So do I. I love the Resident Evil series a lot, especially the first game.
I really want to get into Resident Evil.
If you have a Switch, you can definitely get the collection on there. They have Resident Evil 1 and 0 on there. They got Resident Evil 4. That's a fan favorite.
Of course.
Those are probably the best games to start with.
There's also Silent Hill. That's another one that I've been wanting to get my hands into whenever I get the chance to. And I remember playing Slaughterhouse and Luigi's Mansion a couple times in the past to consider them some personal favorites.
Luigi's Mansion, kind of, but Luigi's Mansion is just so good. I love everything about it.
Well, it is a really good game.
Yeah, there's horror games and there's Halloween games. It's got the macabre to it, but there's almost a harmless charm to it. I almost prefer Halloween games as opposed to just flat out horror games. I definitely put Luigi's Mansion in that particular category. That's what I do in my head anyways. Here's Slaughterhouse, here's a lot of cartoony horror style games that just kind of revel in the themes as opposed to just trying to flat out scare you.
There's a game that came out I think a few years ago called Little Nightmares. It's kind of a stylized horror platformer, and it's just so cool. You just play as this really tiny kid trying to get off a boat of giants. It's such a great game. I heard it's getting a sequel, but I kind of want to go back to Resident Evil. Just the whole setting in the first game with the mansion is probably one of my favorite settings in any video game I've ever played. Because there's lots of backtracking, and once you play the game, you know the mansion backwards and forwards. So there's lots of times you got to go back, and once you discover something, a gem or a statue you got to put in a place, you're oh, I know where this goes, and then you find secrets and different items and stuff, and also you gotta be very wise with your time because you can save the game, but it's very limited based on the difficulty you choose.
So are you playing the original PS1 Saturn version, or are you playing the remake from GameCube era onward?
I grew up with the GameCube version, and I feel that's the only way to play it.
It's a hell of a remake, yeah. I'd say it's the definitive version for sure.
I mean, I would play the PS1 kind of one if you want to hear lines "You almost became a Jill sandwich."
Yeah, I mean, if you're going for the corny factor, for sure. But yeah, I mean, the foundation is there, but I'm definitely glad they went back and modernized it a little bit. Because there really weren't games that look quite as good as Resident Evil Remake or Resident Evil 4. When you look at the rest of the GameCube library, those games were just gorgeous, absolutely stunning games.
I always play through the first Resident Evil every year on my GameCube, so whenever I put it in, I'm this game still holds up really well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, people joke all the time about how often Resident Evil 4 is remade for different systems, but I really got to give up for Capcom for preserving that series. Because you look at Silent Hill, we've had one HD remaster, and that was atrocious. But I mean, you're free to grab most of the Resident Evil games without much issue right now. Even on the Switch, they've done a better job getting all that stuff for you, and portable too, might I add. Which is definitely nice, especially when you consider stuff like 3D All-Stars.
I don't know, as somebody who's a huge Mario stan, 3D All-Stars is a pretty lackluster collection compared to other collections like Kirby, the one Nintendo did for Kirby, or
Well, I mean, that's Tile Laboratory, man. They love Kirby and they love celebrating them. So exactly. I mean, that collection was great because they give a crap, and Nintendo just wanted to make some money. I mean, the games are great. I did a whole video on them, but I mean, the complaints are valid.
I don't know if I could say a joke nowadays or so. I mean, it's they're not as bad as what Konami has become nowadays, but it's they're one of the few game studios on the top of my head that cares about game preservation, in my opinion, at least.
I wouldn't say they're a joke. There were a couple of years there where some of the stuff they were doing is questionable, and like some of the DLC crap they pulled off with Street Fighter V is definitely not cool. But as far as the Japanese old school developers are concerned, they're definitely on the upswing, especially in terms of keeping their core series alive. I mean, Resident Evil is as strong as it's ever been right now. Monster Hunter, I mean, who even needs to question that anymore? Mega Man even came back, and I never thought he'd come back after they threw such a hissy fit after his creator, left. But, I mean, yeah, Capcom's definitely turned it around, and they're doing a really good job, and hopefully they'll continue that trend.
I'd say it's like one of the other companies I would say kind of does the whole preservation thing properly. Capcom, I guess Namco, with all the the constant arcade re-releases they do on every system.
Yeah, they revel in their classics, man. I mean, you can't go a system without getting a Namco museum,
Yeah. This kind of reminds me, though, of some weird memories I had regarding Halloween, though. Like, I remember, like, back in, like, this one building in Jersey that had, like, where it was, like, it's, like, sharing between, like, a high school and a preschool, like, in the teacher's lounge, they had, like, this modified Pac-Man arcade machine with, like, they had, like, this lovely painted Halloween decoration on the side of the arcade cabinet. I don't know, it's, like, one of the few memories that I hold for Halloween that's, like, still sticks to my head.
I have a weirdly, like, the first thing that came to my mind, and I don't know why, is the public access television and this horrible, cheap graphic they had of this graveyard and this crappy ghost that they would just kind of put in front of it. And that's what I remember. I want to find that now. I mean, I don't know. Halloween was always one of my favorite times of year, especially growing up in the Midwest. I mean, fall is gorgeous and just adds to the creepy, factor of everything going on around you. Who doesn't love a bucket load of candy? And it was cosplay before cosplay was a thing. It was awesome. Do any of you guys have like favorite costumes you had?
I remember the earliest memory I have for like a costume with Halloween was like I went out as Scooby-Doo back when I was like 4 years old. Because I remember back at that time, like, we used to bootleg Cartoon Network, and we used to have, like, Scooby-Doo in Spanish, but, like, my earliest, but, like, it was a Scooby-Doo and Tom and Jerry. I was, like, really obsessed with Scooby-Doo, especially since the second movie came out at that time.
Oh, Monsters Unleashed?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Nice.
Another one that I remember going out was, like, in 2007... Wait, was it 2007 or 2008? I don't remember. I went out as like the Black Spider-Man from the Dirt Spider-Man movie.
I went as a black costume Spider-Man from the comics, man. That's dope.
I'd say like the issue is though, like growing up, like comic books and or superheroes never caught my interest. Like the only reason I kind of went as Spider-Man was because like it was the only costume available they had at that time, and I just went out it. Like, the only option we had was, like, red Spider-Man or black Spider-Man, but, like, my friend at the time, he wanted to go as the red suit, and, like, he told me, no, you have to be black Spider-Man.
It worked out in your favor.
Yeah.
One of my favorite cartoons growing up, and it still is Billy and Mandy. And I remember being in, like, 3rd grade. This was when, like, the show was, like, completely new. I was, like, Grim from Billy and Mandy. And I was just, like, super happy because I love Grimm so much. And, like, I also had, like, this Cartoon Network DVD that had, like, a collection of, like, Halloween specials. And I would watch that while in my Grimm costume when Halloween was coming out before I went trick-or-treating. And I was like, things can't get any better than this.
I miss doing stuff like that, man. I miss just watching, like, just holiday-themed stuff around the actual holiday. Used to do that all the time with Halloween and Christmas. Get my Christmas crunch ready to go and just go to town. It's awesome.
Like it was the same thing for my end, but instead of Cartoon Network, it was like with a bunch of like Nickelodeon cartoons. Like I remember I used to have like this SpongeBob VHS where like you guys remember the Halloween episode where like he was just scared constantly.
Scaredy Pants?
Yeah.
Is that the one where he's stuck on the overnight shift at the Patty or CatBit?
No, that was the Nasty Patty. Wait, no, not Nasty.
No,
Patty.
that was like the hash-slinging slasher.
Hash-slinging. I love that episode, man. That's such a good episode. What's great about Halloween specials compared to Christmas ones, and I distinctly remember this every year as a kid. I'd be excited to just get, hyped up for the holidays surrounding it. But then I'd watch Christmas specials, and there's always like a touchy feeling moral to the whole thing. Or like, surprise, Santa is real, or some crap like that. Look, you go to Halloween, and there's always like a creepy undertone. Like, is the creator's chance to really like do a horror themed something or rather, and it didn't always end on a high note for the characters. Love that crap.
That's what I love about it.
I
It's
know
like
that, like,
it's shit they've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
I know around like 2015, I made it like a tradition of mine. Like every year, like I will watch The Simpsons Treehouse. Like I'll watch.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's a Halloween tradition that I never want to let die because like every day in October, either it's 1st of October, like the 31st, I would just like binge watch the first 8 seasons of The Simpsons and all the Halloween specials because those, in my opinion, are some of the best Halloween specials in any cartoon to come out. Like,
yeah, they'd eventually just become like weird movie parodies, but I mean, early on, those were really something special.
I say like one of my personal favorites was the one where like Homer would like uninvertedly created a time machine and he's just like fucking up with the timeline.
Yes, I love that one.
I haven't watched those in years. I mean, the Edgar Allan Poe one sticks in my mind more than the other ones for some reason, but yeah.
I love the Shining one.
Those are so good.
No, the Shining one was really good.
I keep remembering they keep calling it the Shinning.
I gotta wonder, like for you guys, because you guys are much younger than me, like how much of pop culture have you guys experienced through parody? Opposed to the original thing. Like, did you guys see parodies of The Shining before you actually saw The Shining?
Actually, this is how I was introduced to it because like I watched The Simpsons at a really young age.
I imagine that's the case for a lot of us, because like even like in the 90s and stuff like that, like I don't know, man, like I remember Weird Al songs before I remember the actual songs they're based off. Sometimes
that happened with me too.
I didn't even know what Gangsta's Paradise was before I listened to
Amish
Paradise.
Yeah, remember the first Sonic trailer? Oh shit, he's got Weird Al.
Imagine like having a kid and then you just tell the kid all of Weird Al's songs are original.
Yeah. Like
insane, man. They're so good.
I believed that growing up until I heard the originals, and I was like, man, Weird Al did it better.
Damn.
And this guy's got just a variety of beats, man. How does he do this?
I know.
Maybe he just sold his soul to the devil. I mean, have you guys seen Close Enough yet?
Oh, yeah, I remember that. I guess with, like, parody, I also grew up with, like, Newgrounds in the early 2000s. So, parody wasn't really anything new to me.
That and ugly porn games, but yeah, that was Newgrounds.
That ruined me.
I remember, like, one episode of Phineas and Ferb did a parody of Night of the Living Dead, but, like, it was instead Night of the Living Pharmacist.
Oh, yeah, where they all turn to Doofenshmirtz?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was great. I was actually watching that one the other month when I was, like, ready for Candace Against the Universe. I was just watching a bunch of Phineas and Ferb.
Like, when did Phineas and Ferb end, Random?
Phineas and Ferb? I think, like, mid-2000s? No, mid-2010s.
Yeah, because it's, like, been almost, like, 5 years since I've last seen that show, so it's not as fresh in my memory as it used to be.
Yeah, I think it finished up around 2015 or something.
I was gonna say, it hasn't been gone that long.
Yeah, it hasn't really. Oh, also, Cap, on Disney Plus, since Halloween's around, they have a whole playlist of every Treehouse of Horror.
God, give me an excuse to watch Nightmare on Elm Street.
Sister's starting to watch those for the first time.
No, like Nightmare on Elm Street and Corpse Bride. They're two of my. Oh, and Beetlejuice. That's another great Halloween movie I would watch every October.
I just watch those all year round.
That's what I mean, though. Like Beetlejuice is a perfect example, where it's like there's horror movies, then there's Halloween movies, you know. And I definitely wouldn't call Beetlejuice horror. I would consider him like horror adjacent, you know, or Halloween. That's what I consider a Halloween movie. I love Beetlejuice.
So do I. I kind of want to do like a reboot of the Beetlejuice cartoon, but it has like elements of like all three things, like the movie, the cartoon, and like the musical. Because the musical is actually really good too, and that's actually getting people more into Beetlejuice.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if that's a series I kind of want to just keep in my memories as opposed to revisiting it. Same with Back to the Future. Like I feel like some things might need to just stay where they're at in history, but
yeah,
I also probably would go see Beetlejuice too if it came out.
You know, it's another movie that I would consider like a Halloween film that I enjoy watching a lot as well.
What?
the first two Ghostbusters movies. Well, mainly the first one. I'm not really that fond of the second one, but that's probably just me.
I honestly really like 2.
I didn't hate it as a kid. I thought it was fine. It was one of those movies, like, as grew older, like, that and Ninja Turtles 3, like, I didn't understand that they were bad movies. I was just a kid, and I was just happy spending more time with these characters. You know, growing up, then you realize, oh, no, actually, these aren't as good. They should be as movies, but I don't know, they're still fun.
I will say, though, that another one, and the Hotel Transylvania movies.
I've not seen a single one yet. I don't know. It was a lot of stuff I still need to watch. I mean, like, as you get older, it is harder to kind of keep up with newer things. I'm kind of set in my ways with the dorky things I like. Sometimes it's a little harder to jump into stuff that just looks a little bit too cheesy for me. But I've heard nothing but good things, so I definitely need to give them a watch.
I feel like you should give Hotel Transylvania a watch, since I'm guessing you're familiar with Genndy Tartakovsky.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was more turned off just because Adam Sandler was involved, but I don't know. I don't hate him as much as other people do either, but also I'm kind of irritating. But I mean, after I heard Genndy was in it, it's always been on my watch list. You know, like something I need to sit down and watch.
Well, take this from us, because this is coming from me, who's never watched as many Adam Sandler movies as his parents has. Like, it feels more like a Genndy Tartakovsky movie than it does Adam Sandler movie.
Right, yeah. And he's fine as when he's, not behind the scenes and, mucking things up. So I definitely trust Genndy as far as the creator is concerned.
With Hotel Transylvania films, the first one, you can definitely tell it was an Adam Sandler film, and just Genndy was definitely like pulling the strings with like all the animation. And then like as the films kept going more in the future, like 2, Genndy was more involved with like the writing and stuff, and then he just like full on just wrote it in 3.
Was 3 a decent movie then?
Honestly, 3 is my favorite. Apparently that's not like popular with a lot of people, but like honestly, I think 3 is the best one.
I'm still hoping that the new Popeye movie, which thankfully got brought back from the dead, I hope Genndy's still going to be working on that one.
Oh, me too.
What would you guys consider laughably awful, quote unquote, horror movies?
I mean, the immediate one that came to my mind was one like Killer Clowns from Outer Space, which I found genuinely enjoyable, but I think it was also intentionally a little bit on the goofier side.
Same thing with like Killer Tomatoes.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that in years, but I remember enjoying that too. But they know they're being funny. Trolls 2, on the other hand, is absolutely genuine at everything it's doing, and golly, you can tell, and it's just something else, man. Like, it's something else when there's genuine effort and it still turns out both bad, but also like just strange. Like, you can tell there's like a whole other mindset happening behind the scenes,
Same thing with like Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Silent Night, Deadly Night is the funniest horror movie I've seen.
Isn't that a Christmas movie?
Yeah, that's the one where it has like a guy dressed up as Santa and he's just murdering people.
Oh, do they have so many Killer Santa movies?
Which
one's Goldberg? Yeah, that wrestler Goldberg, he played Santa and he goes off murdering a bunch of people. It's hilarious. I don't remember what it's called.
I know there was this one Jack Frost movie that's like really horrible.
Oh my god, I've seen it too. And you know something funny? Whenever people bring it up, I keep thinking of like the Michael Keaton movie too, which is just as horrifying.
That actor's got just an interesting history, man. Like, his career has been something fascinating.
I consider it a good movie. I know that like a bunch of critics really hate this one. El Super Beasto is a guilty pleasure of mine. So
that movie is amazing, and I will create a fandom for that movie.
Is that the animated Rob Zombie movie?
Yeah, that's the animated Rob Zombie movie.
I try to sit through that, man. Like, I think I just got bored, which really disappointed me, because that's something I want to like. Like, I want to just be entrenched in, the world that exists on Rob Zombie's album covers. I want to see Dracula in a movie. Guy's got such a distinct style to him.
Oh yeah, I'm a huge Rob Zombie fan. Like, I even remember when like this movie was about to come out. I was like super excited for this. I'm like, telling everybody, you need to watch this movie. This is everything I kind of want in a horror movie. Actually, everything I want in an animated movie, honestly, was in El Super Beasto.
Now, a lot of the stuff is inspired by truly garbage, like old school horror movies. You know, like Plan 9 and From Outer Space. And I'm not a horror expert by any stretch of the imagination. That's the only one that comes to mind. But the aesthetic alone is just wonderful.
Definitely.
I love that too.
There's like this leprechaun, and he's just like murdering a bunch
Leprechaun.
of people.
Leprechaun, yeah, dude. Just what's called Leprechaun. Now, which Leprechaun movie?
The one where he goes to space.
Okay. Classic. There you go.
Oh my god. There was like, I actually own all the movies on DVD.
Fantastic.
You know something funny? I watched these with my grandmother, and she loves these movies.
That's precious. I love that.
I know another one, and this is also a really funny one. The more you think about it, Jason in Outer Space.
Oh, Jason X.
Yes,
that one.
Jason X, and Jason Goes to Manhattan.
Oh, Jason Goes to Manhattan. Oh my god, I feel that movie on a personal level.
One where he's just on a boat for most of the movie. That one.
Yeah, but once he gets into Manhattan, that's when the movie starts taking off.
Just kicking over trash cans or the sleeping bag scene from Jason.
and you just fucking like hit some guy's boombox, like, get that shit out of my way.
You've seen the Muppets tape. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Like Jason, like as that series progressed, like he got less scary, and he just seemed frustrated that he kept coming back to life. Like he didn't want to be there anymore. He just seemed cranky.
He's
cool. It was awesome.
He's like, you damn kids, let me rest.
Oh my god.
Stop having premarital sex. Can I talk about a horror movie? No one really talks about this movie, and I feel like more people should.
You're good.
So, it's this movie called Bad Milo, and I remember looking for something to watch, and on, like, demand, I found this thing called Bad Milo, and I saw the fucking poster, and it was the funniest movie poster I have ever seen in my entire life.
There's a reminder of a memory. That name sounds familiar. What was going on that poster?
Okay, so let me tell you what the movie's about. It's about like this guy who has a lot of stress in his life, and he just goes to the doctors, and they find like something growing inside of his like stomach and shit, and ends up being like this like little mutant creature named, and he ends up calling him Milo and stuff, and he starts coming out of his butt and stuff. So
this is starring a bunch of comedians, man. That's awesome.
It's like Ghoulies meets like Gremlins.
God, I need to see Gremlins.
Gremlins is good, but Ghoulies, that's another level. I love that.
Oh, Ghoulies is a really good movie.
I remember I saw Ghoulies and I didn't want to take a shit for a long time.
Oh my god.
Wait, no, not Ghoulies. I was thinking of Goonies. Fucking hell.
I'm thinking of Goonies too. I'm like, wait a minute, what's wrong? What's wrong with toilets and Goonies?
Okay, so Ghoulies is a movie about like these monsters coming out of the toilet.
I feel like horror fans just have to revel in the obscure. You know, like I think all of them just want to one up each other. Like, hey, have you ever heard of this? Oh yeah, have you ever heard of this? Because so much of that entire genre is just strange and weird and never quite hits mainstream like that. That's always going to stay cultish, you know?
Yeah, that's kind of what I want in horror movies. Like, just
I saw Milo, but oh my god, I've never seen this, and I love all these actors.
This is Ghoulies.
So I remember that poster. I remember seeing that in rental stores when I was a kid. It was so weird. Just boldly right there on the cover, and it was on the VHS cover too. It's just a pretty little baby popping out of a toilet. We'll have to wrap it up here fairly soon. So I'll leave that entirely up to you guys.
Yeah, because I have to head down for dinner in a few minutes. But we had a lot of fun, and I'm grateful to have you on as a guest today, Nick.
I'm honored to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, this is the first episode of Couchtober and the Comfy CouchCast. I'm CatBit. Who are you two?
I'm Random Harry.
I'm Nick.
Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful night.
Now get out of here.